Alright, in this lesson we're going to introduce ourselves to the while loop. And again, we're going to make an arithmetic sequence using a while loop. Now, the thing you need to know about while loops is that only when you don't know how many terms you're going to need. In this case, we're going to have some contrived situation. And then for the application, we're going to have a real situation for what this would look like. But here you have a while loop, and then you have a condition that you will test until it's true. When it's true, it won't run anymore. And then these are the statements that it will run until this condition is true. For example, if you make this while loop, while n is less than 13. Actually, this is I messed this up. You got to switch these two lines. Otherwise, what will happen is it will store 1 into n every time. It will run forever. So you actually need to, let me pull up my pen here. This needs to be your first line where you initialize the counter n. And then this needs to be your second line. And then it will display n, and then you add 1 to n. So this is your step counter. So when you set 1 to n, and then it runs, 1 is less than 13. That's true. It will display n, which is 1, and it will add 1. Now it'll go back up here to 2. Is 2 less than 13? Yes, it will run this. It will display the n. 2, it will add 1 and run it again. Now when it gets to 13, it will say, is 13 less than 13? No, so it will end. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a program that asks for n, a sub 1, and d, and uses a while loop to create an arithmetic sequence. In this case, we're just going to have our counter go up to I. So we're going to have a program. We're going to create a new program called while arithmetic, WHLARTH, while arithmetic. And then I'm going to do my first 3 lines, clear home. Alright, so displaying by the math profit, and then pause. Same 3 lines as always. It's like putting your heading on your paper. Press press enter. This should be getting pretty familiar to you. Inputting a sub 1, d, and the number of terms. A sub 1 equals we're going to store that in A. Turn off for me. Program input common difference. Again, if you wanted to do this program for a geometric series, instead of common difference, it would be common ratio. And we want to know how many terms. Of terms. And I'm going to store that in n. Now, this is where I need to initialize my counter. So I'm going to store 0, store it into, I'm going to store 1 into I. When you get into advanced mathematics, you'll start counting at 0. So now we have our while. So program, now number 5 is the while loop, and I'm going to do it while I is less than or equal to, so that's number 6, and while it's less than or equal to n. And now here I need to display the term, display a plus n, which in this case is held by I minus 1 times, and again, so as long as I is less than or equal to n, it will put I in here. 1 minus 1 is 0, so it'll just display A, and then it will go. So now we need to increment I. So and the way you do this in TI Basic is you just do I plus 1, and I'm going to store that in I. So now the next time it runs the loop, I will be 2. And then when it gets down here, I will be 3, 4, 5. So we're just displaying the loops now, or we're just displaying the terms through the loop. But you'll see where this actually becomes a problem later on. And some people would say that's why you use a repeat loop, but we're going to use a while loop because repeat is less common in other programming languages, and I want to use this as a primer for advanced programming languages. So here we can run this program, and I'm going to say this is while arith. So let's run it, and let's have it count by ones. Let's have it so clearly I didn't, what did I do? 1 1 Okay, let me edit my program to see what's going on there. Oh, instead of input, I have display. And n must just be 100 from a previously entered program. So I obviously need to change that from display to input. Maybe you caught that when I put that in. But this was an honest mistake. But really, this is why I always like to run my programs after I do them, just to make sure they're working as they should. So I don't want to run 100 terms, I just want to run 10. So there we go. So I run those 10 terms. So in our next and final lesson, we're going to create a while loop that will add up the terms until it gets to a certain sum. Thank you.